Hi, I'm Janeane. This is KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and this is Get the Funk Out. Standing by to join me is filmmaker Arthur Egeli, and we're going to talk about his new film, The Black Emperor of Broadway. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Janeane.
I had a chance to watch the movie. I loved it. This is a true story, right?
It is.
How did it come about for you?
Well, I live in Provincetown, Massachusetts, and if you're from this area, you know that Eugene O'Neill got his start here. And I'm sure many of your listeners know who Eugene O'Neill is. If you don't, he was pretty much the father of American theater. The archetypes like James Dean and Marlon Brando, those were Eugene O'Neill characters that he created as early as 1920.
I didn't know that.
And he was it. And
he was the bomb.
He was the bomb. And so we're preparing this movie to do a bio of him, which is a very flattering bio of him. And then my friend calls me from North Carolina and says, I just saw this play, Arthur, my co-writer, Ian Bowater.
Okay.
And he says, you got to see this play before you write another word. And this play was about O'Neill's producing The Emperor Jones, which was a breakout play because he cast a black actor to play a black part, which seems rather odd to us now, but that was experimental at the time, instead of casting a white actor wearing blackface.
Sure.
And the way he treated this actor was just, in a way, make your skin crawl. First, he used him to get famous, and then he fires him because he won't say a certain word.
Your involvement in this film, from the writing to producing, what was that? Tell me your role in this, basically.
I was basically the producer and director. And, you know, I have my opinions about the writing, but I leave that to people that can write better than me.
Okay.
Ian Bowater is one of those writers. And, you know, I guide them and tell them what I need. And it really comes down to a small movie. You're like, what can you imagine and what can you actually film?
Yes.
This film takes place in 1921. And we live in an old town, but you have to be just careful, you know, what you're going to shoot and how you're going to show it without, you know, so you don't look like you're faking it.
Right. Tell me about casting. Were you involved in the casting?
I was. I'm an artist, as you know, and one of my art collectors happened to be a kind of a legendary casting director named Mary Jo Slater. And she said, you know, maybe I can help you out, Arthur. I don't think she was expecting to really like the script like she did. She says, this script needs a good cast.
Yes.
And she guided us casting those leads, because Eugene O'Neill, I mean, a mythic figure. Charles Gilpin, who played Emperor Jones, he must have been, you know, so incredible because he pretty much changed history. I mean, he opened the door for every other black actor to be the lead after him.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, because he was the first African-American dramatic star in a lead role on Broadway.
Yes, exactly. And he was Charles Gilpin. And he needed to be three things. He needed to be Gilpin at home with his wife. Who was that? We had to invent that. He had to be Gilpin, the professional who goes to auditions and what's his avatar there. And then he had to be this racist dictator that Eugene O'Neill created for him to be. And then he had to, like, in a way, decide that he was going to stand up to who was becoming a world famous, you know, playwright, Eugene O'Neill.
Now, the star of this is Sean Parks.
Sean Parks.
He was wonderful.
An English actor. Mary Jo Slater gave me a list, and I said, I think this might be my guy right away. And she says, oh, you're not going to get him. You know, he's in London, he's doing this and that. And pretty much Sean, it must have been like 6 hours later, he called me and said, told his agent to start talking to me. So
he knew it too. He knew it was right for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's had a successful festival run that included Greenwich International Film Festival, Brooklyn International Film Festival, Macon Film Festival, Harlem International Film Festival. Where else?
Boston, it was Richmond. I got to say, when you say that list, the one that I was really most proud of, I mean, all of them, of course, but when Harlem invited us, obviously I'm a white producer and this is a Black subject. So
Yes.
I'd say there was a lot of some suspicion that I was doing it, or maybe I wouldn't do it right, but I feel like this was a story that was an O'Neill story and a Charles Gilpin story. And, I could tell this story. And when Harlem invited us, I thought like, that's the audience I want to see it. I want them to accept our movie and, for what it is. And on the other hand, the movie's not like, bad medicine. You saw the movie. It's not like, I think some white people think, oh, I don't want to hear about bad white people. And I'm like, it's not about that either. It's a story of what happened.
But the truth is, at the time, white people were bad and they mistreated Black people. I mean, they still do.
And so they do.
Look at the history and the patterns in a sense,
Exactly. And I think that that's what the story is, kind of timeless, because Naija Cora played Gilpin's wife.
I loved her.
She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Found her by accident almost. And
really?
Yeah, someone said, one of the other cast members says, you're looking for Gilpin's wife. And I know this woman I went to Juilliard with, and I saw her reel for maybe, when they're doing their reel and no one's talking, she's just waiting there to do her little thing. And you can see her going through all these expressions in her face, like telling a story that she was about to tell. And I was like, that's the character. That's the person.
She, not only is she stunning, but she's a captivating actress.
She is.
And I appreciate really good acting, excellent filmmaking. I mean, she was fantastic.
Just fantastic. And she brought sympathy to him and her. And but back to the thing, she says that she'd go to projects to audition, and there would be the language in the script, and you're sitting there and you want the role, and do you say what they're making you say, even though it doesn't seem like you ought to say this?
Right.
I mean, what is the decision that Charles Gilpin had to make? He was on his way. His dreams were coming true, and then to finally decide, I shouldn't say this word anymore. And then, and then Paul Robeson becomes famous because he pays the way. And it was
it's crazy. He wouldn't compromise himself as an actor and for his people.
He wouldn't. And it's when I first saw the play, or Ian said, you got to see this play. He sends me the script, and I'm reading it. I'm like, this is kind of a Shakespearean hero. He's got this flaw in a way, and it's not a flaw. It's only a flaw within his world. In our world, looking at it, we're like, that
is inner strength.
Yeah.
I could imagine, we talked about this a few minutes ago, but you probably felt the pressure of being a white man telling this story. Did you lose that? Like, did you push that aside, or was that always with you?
Always with me, and still, it's still out there. Where
especially when you're doing interviews, why you, Arthur, telling this story?
Yeah, giving me feedback and things like that. Feedback, and during the production, I really hadn't worked with that many Black actors or Black crew ever before, and there's something about like the Black experience that I'm never going to appreciate as a white person fully, because I'm not Black. But when you see you see in an interaction or something that you see someone like prejudging somebody before they even said a word, and you're like, it's kind of awful, and you realize that actor, that crew person, has to work extra hard to like be accepted, because that we don't have. I have an art gallery here in Provincetown, and I interact with everyone freely, and it's just like it's assumed we're from the same same world. And I don't think a lot of Black actors don't get that.
Sure. I think the timing of your film is great because here we are. I feel we're in a pandemic, but more so, we had an awakening with the death of George Floyd. I think most people had an awakening to the horrific treatment of Black people in 2020 and how a lot of things have not changed. So for you to have this film come out and deal with these themes is a good thing. It's a great timing.
Thank you. And I hope some of your listeners will go check it out. And, because I agree that it's, that when we talk about that, though, in a way, like, I started this project 3 years ago, it seemed like almost every 3 months, there was some incident that kind of reflected what was going on in our film. And
right. Wow.
George Floyd's was just like, it was so obvious. It was like I wrote an op-ed for one of the papers, and when I was younger in Maryland, the word that's in the film was like thrown around in certain circles, and I knew it wasn't okay to say it. My brother didn't know what to say it, but I got to say it once in a while. You try to be the big important person. You were like 9 or 10, and that word might come out of your mouth, and you don't realize then how there is no other word in English language that we have has the the gravity of that world. There is we don't even, here we are talking, Janeane, and we don't dare to even say it.
No.
We don't say it, and it's and I think Charles Gilpin in the movie, I think he knew it from the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away about the film, but is there anything you would like to just give the listeners or the viewers little tidbits of the film without giving too much away?
To maybe think of something. I have to think of something, but it's what's funny about the whole project is that everybody will say to me like, oh, they assume it's about Paul Robeson. I know Paul Robeson. Oh, it's his story. He was in the movie Emperor Jones. He was this and that, right? Okay. And it's so well documented that Jasper Dieter, who was really the head of the Spear with the little Provincetown players, they were this, experimental group. He was encouraging O'Neill, says you've got to get a really good Black actor for this. You don't want to get somebody who's inexperienced. And he says there are a lot of them. After the movie starts, Jasper Dieter opens up Hedgerow Theater in Pennsylvania, and that's what he does, produce Black plays. Yeah. But he goes to Charles Gilpin, and it's well documented that Charles Gilpin almost threw him out of the hotel when he brought up the project. He says, "You want me to play this Emperor Jones, who's embodies all the stereotypes of the day, of
right,
the Black man? No way." And so he turns it down, and then Jasper Dieter goes to Charles Gilpin, and Charles Gilpin's, so thinking to himself, okay, I can be the lead in a play.
Which is what he wanted.
This is what he wanted his whole life. Mm-hmm. And shows everything I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So where can people find out more about you and the film?
Our Facebook page, of course, Black Emperor of Broadway, and the website, Black Emperor. And of course, if you Google the movie Black Emperor, we're getting some good press, and thank you for this interview, and trying to get the word out there to see it. It's just, it's with an independent film like this, it's a small film. And frankly, it's a project that if I didn't make it or some other small filmmaker, it just would not get made, because it's, I don't know what it is about these stories. They're powerful stories, but people think that there's not enough audience for them. So please, out there, prove them wrong and see the film. It's you can see it on Amazon or iTunes.
Google
You can get
Play,
it at Walmart.
Xbox,
Yeah,
San
you can get
Diego
it at
now.
Walmart, Xfinity, all those places, and you can
Yeah.
check out the film. And I think you will like the film. I think it's there's fun moments and there's
Touching
uncomfortable.
moments. Yeah. No, it's wonderful. I put all your info and the link to watch it on my show blog, which is getthefunkoutshow.kuci.org. Let me ask you one more thing. Maybe along the way you had some self-doubt about getting this film made, moving it along, getting it done. How did you take care of yourself during this process if you did have moments of self-doubt?
Um, it's a really good question, and I did some research on you, Janeane, too. I see that.
There she goes, asking that get the funk out question.
It's a really good question.
Thank
And
you.
I've been an artist my entire life. I'm 56 now. The minute I got out of structured school, it was like I'm preparing myself for this moment
Mm,
of making this movie. How to wake up and tell yourself what to do and make your own agenda and lie there in bed and go, if I could do nothing else today in the world, what would I choose to do?
yeah.
And you make that choice and then you do that. And then in order to do that, like I'm mostly a painter, I paint, I make sure everything in my surroundings in my life encourages me to make that painting. My paints are ready. It's blank. It's a blank canvas. I'm healthy. I'm rested.
The phone is
Uh,
off.
the phone is off. Everything you need to so when I feel that energy to go paint, it's already there. So and then it becomes a habit of, then also it's a habit.
Mm-hmm.
I can say, making a film like this where people are, angry at you before you even start. There's people encouraging you also, but, you have to believe in yourself. And it's like, you have to have an ego. And if you don't have an ego, you won't do anything. So
Right, things wouldn't get done in this world.
it wouldn't get done at all. So it's,
Yeah.
it's good and bad at the same time. I mean, it's, in a movie like this, it's fun watching a character, like an actor, who's keeping himself going. He's just about to give up, and then he gets that break,
Yeah.
and he's ready.
Mm-hmm.
He's ready. But then again, I don't think his wife probably really was scared. She was scared of their future.
Yes. Yeah. That's great. And thank you for giving me such a great response. That could really be relevant to a lot of people,
Yeah, I mean, it's I have art students, and I talk to them and everything, and it's a whole life process being a creative person, and
Isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you got to survive and you got to make a living. So
Right.
somehow you got to make that channel into what you're doing. And
Right.
the funny thing I always hear is like these artists, and he works all night until he's exhausted and falls asleep at the easel or the typewriter. And I'm like, not so.
No.
No. You can work if you're working for months on something, which is what's going to happen.
Yes.
He says, you can't be tired. You can't be hungover. You can't
No.
be anything.
No.
Yeah, you have to be ready to go. And
Ready. It's like an athlete. It's just training yourself to be disciplined. I'll share something with you. I get up early in the morning, sometimes 5:30. And what's on my mind is to work on a script, on a short script. Not because anybody's chasing me down and I have a deadline. I put my own deadline, and you just have this idea for a story and you want to get this done. And that's what drives me, is my own creativity, my own passion, the stories I create in my head. And that creates optimism, especially right now.
And unfortunately, anything in your world that's making you not do that, it's got to go.
I know.
It's got to go. It's like, excluding family, but it's, you have to be,
Dear family, you have to go. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Give your website one more time.
Blackemperor.com.
Okay.
And God, I hope that's the website. It's a hard question. Black Emperor of Broadway.
Wait a
Google.
minute. It's 3 hours ahead for you. I have an excuse. Well,
Well, here it's a beautiful day in Provincetown. The colors are changing. It's a great time of year here.
that's
We're
nice.
having what's called storm tide, which is an odd lunar event where the tide's much higher than normal. So everybody's kind of watching the edge of the water, make sure it doesn't get too high.
Sure. Do you live right on the water or close to the
We
water?
live across the street from the water, but it's almost like you can sense the water being high because everywhere you look, you see water where you didn't.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's cyclical, you know. It's when our director of photography came, and he was from like Midland, Texas, and he saw the dramatic tide here. He was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And I'm like, "That's the tide."
That's the ocean. It's getting closer.
It's getting closer, and will get much closer.
I hope you like water beds.
Yes.
Do you live there year round?
I do. I have 2 kids, and I used to live in Pasadena, California. And
Okay.
at a certain point, you know, you got to decide, you know, where your kids are going to be raised.
Right.
And it was just my life was little too shaky in Pasadena, even though I was a successful artist, was too shaky to continue to rely on that. And what's funny about that is that, for all your listeners out there too, is that as soon as I left LA and made that decision to move away, where my expenses were like, you know, 1/10 of what they were in Pasadena, I got another feature film. Wow. And then I got another feature film. And then I did this feature film. And my entire LA story is Arthur trying to do a feature film. And, you know, never happened, but I did find the love of my life and had a family and started getting those things that like make your life richer.
Sure.
And then
which makes you happier and more creative, I think.
Makes you happier, more creative. And then all of a sudden out of LA and that pressure and that story, and no, that's not a good story. No, make a movie about this. And I'm like, here I am, make the most obscure story and getting some traction with this obscure story. Which if I was in LA, they would have slapped me down like, "Go! Are you kidding me?"
Right.
How many murders in the first 10 minutes? No.
Not interested. Right. Not interested. How many affairs and Botox jobs?
Yes. And no fast cars? Oh, come on. Period piece? No. Anyway.
Well, it's so interesting because sometimes you do have to switch where you live. I used to live in Brooklyn, I was saying, for 12 years, and I moved here in 2000. I'm a completely different person with a completely different career. I was in training and development. I'm not in that now. I mean, I use some of that skill set, but sometimes you get this inkling that there's something else for you and you have to pick up and uproot and go somewhere else. Right?
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
You have to you know, because the ride doesn't last forever. So we got to take advantage of it.
That's right. Exactly.
While we're here. Anyway, one last thing. I know you get last thing, but
go ahead.
My new film is about the 1991 robbery of the Isabel Gardner Museum in Boston.
Whoa.
So stay tuned for that.
Yes. You are more than welcome to come back on for that one or anything else you have going on. Fantastic. And are you on social media? Is Arthur or your own?
Yeah, Arthur Egeli, social media and Instagram. And of course, you'll see a lot of Egeli galleries, my day job. That's where we are right now. You can see all the paintings all around here. We're in the gallery.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, so here we are, and downstairs. And luckily, despite the pandemic, people need paintings in their house.
Right.
So
they need a diversion.
They need something to look at when they're sitting there wondering what's going to happen.
That's right. That's right. One quick thing. What are you doing to take care of yourself during the pandemic? Have you been in a relatively positive mindset, or have there been times when it's a little down?
I've been in a relatively positive mindset because I think I can paint and do that.
Yeah.
Things like that. It was a little heavy on my son and my daughter. You know, it took them so long to get used to not seeing their friends and being remote morning. It was,
So hard.
It was so sad. My son said to me, he was like 11, said, Dad, I just want to go back the way it was.
Yeah.
And you're trying to explain this to him, but you can't.
Right.
And the exciting thing was they're only going back 2 days a week, but it was the most exciting day of his life, going back to school just for 2 days for 3 hours.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't blame him. Yeah. All right. Well, I have really enjoyed this. I'll let you run. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and let's stay in touch.
thank you, Jean. Thank you for having me.